Okay, so hi everyone, I'm Julie Kay and I'm here in Australia, and today I'm talking with Fiona Robertson, who is all the way over in France. And it's just such a wonderful experience to be able to jump online and connect with someone, on the other side of the world and have a few conversations, because, we really are one in the mass consciousness. And when we can connect to other people, we can see that we're not alone, that we are all experiencing the same things at the same time, and it doesn't matter what color, what race, where you are in the world. We can all connect and join together. And I feel at where the earth plane is at the moment, unity and coming together and sharing and all of that is so important. So hi Fiona, lovely to speak to you.
So it's good morning from me, and I do believe it's good evening from you.
Yes, that's correct. Yep. We still lined it up. It's still good.
Yeah, when you're having conversations in spirit, you meet someone and you just instantly know there's so much more that you could discuss. So that's why Julie and I decided to sort of hop on and just have these conversations in person like this, because whatever we're talking about is basically what's going on everywhere. And everybody's talking about or feeling the same kind of things. And we were set a challenge to bring over in layman's terms the journey from the shift that's going on the planet right now. So if you're born right now, you are here because there is a shift going on. And you're shifting in what they call 3D, three-dimensional terms, through 4D and into 5D. Now, I call 5D living with practical magic, because it means that just letting things work out in a completely different way. So when Julie and I spoke about it, we were just so excited. I was like, oh my God, I've just got this idea that we need to talk about this and bring it forth and make it normal.
Yes.
So whatever you're
absolutely.
dealing with, how can you deal with this from a place of love, from a place of unity, from a place of fun, from a place of, so we're talking in spirit, and our spirits will come through while we're talking. So this is what we're doing.
Yeah, excellent. And just for those who are fairly new to it, so going from the 3D to the 4D to the 5D really is about a shift in consciousness. So what we're talking about is a shift within ourselves, and everyone makes that journey, themselves. They shift and lift and change their consciousness and their conscious awareness. And then that it goes into the mass consciousness, so influences the mass consciousness. So wherever we are on an individual level, we also have an influence of what's going on in that mass consciousness energy, which is why I feel these conversations at the moment are so important with what's going on in the world.
To make that into layman's terms as well, Julie, means just how you think about things. It's how you experience things. So maybe between a 3D perspective and a 5D perspective is just that you've just changed the way you think about things. Like, oh, I never thought about it like that before. Yes, that feels so much better, so much easier when I come at it from that angle, rather than feeling blamed or judged or rejected or all those things and all the emotions that come up. So this is what we're washing away when we're stepping from one reality to another reality. So for me, it's just think about things differently, and you feel about things differently as well. You're just more joyful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it really is. It's more about learning to get out of that mind and the mind focus, the intellectual mind focus, which is, in the 3D model, things that are going on in the world can have us feeling very fearful, very anxious. And, so we start to plan through the mind to try and protect ourselves and try and, deal with things through the mind. But, there's another side of us too, which is that intuitive spirit side of self. And if we can sort of make that connection more to that and more to our joy, then we learn that we're actually quite internally guided. And, when you kind of make that shift to be listening more to your spirit, it's like, practical magic. and things, your spirit knows how to navigate you through these times.
One of the reasons we came together is because I saw a post that Julie'd done about manifesting her home. And I went, oh, well, you know, that's what I talk about as well in Practical Magic. I talk about that. But it's easier for us to talk about stories and situations, about what the difference is between the perspective of being in the old reality, giving your power away to someone else, waiting for a doctor or an osteopath or a kinesiologist or a healer to fix you, or knowing inside, I'm the only one who can fix this. So how am I thinking about this? Can I change the way I think? And what kind of new experience can I have with that? If you don't mind, Julie, I've got a very quick story that demonstrates that. I've been dealing with women and their bodies and everything for such a long time. I became, you know, it's a route into working with things in a different way. It's never just about, you know, eating less and moving more. And it must have been about 10 years ago now, I was struck down with massive sciatica. I mean, I had to pull my hair up to get me out of bed in the morning, and I was just in such a miserable place. I was a new single parent. I'd separated from my ex. I was living in France. Money was going down the drain. I couldn't run my retreats anymore in the way I used to, because I used to be able to run them, and my ex would look after the kids. Anyway, that was all going up in smoke. So I was in a fearful place. I was also in a place of blame and criticism and anger. And when I realized the stories I was telling, and sometimes you don't realize those until you're telling them out loud to someone else, and they're kind of like, he's not such a bad guy. And I'm like, so I thought, well, I'm creating those stories in myself. And I know very much metaphysically, you create, you know, the pain then, you know, creates form on the body. So I went, do you know what? I'm the only one who's creating this sciatica. So I'm the only one who can get rid of it. See, change of perspective. I took responsibility for the pain that I was going through. I went, okay, well, I'm going to have to tell a different story about this guy, you know. So I started. Oh, well, the kids love him. He's not such a bad guy. And if I hadn't met him, I would not have been, you know, living in France. We met in Australia, funnily enough. We were both traveling around Australia when I met him. Great experience. Wow, yeah, there's a positive, great experience. He's very generous. He's kind, he's funny. You know, he's got his own thing going on. So I started telling a different story, and every day I would just tell a different story, and I recorded it on my phone. In the end, I was practically in tears, like, oh my God, you know, this has been a great experience. We've both got two fantastic children out of this. We've got the potential of living a great life. He's a good guy, he's generous, kept on telling that and feeling different about the, you know, the perspective I had on this guy. Within 2 days, my sciatica had lifted off. And I was looking for it, and like, is it gone? Is it really gone? And it didn't come back until maybe 2 years later, when I started telling the same stories, the dagger stories, you know, to a girlfriend who'd gone through something similar. And I was like, I sat down in the afternoon and I couldn't move when I got back up. And I'm like, I'm going to have to do the work again, aren't I? Speaking to myself as a spirit, speaking to my soul, I said, am I getting this because of the story I just told? And I just got a massive yes. And my body just reacted like, yes. I'm like, I get it now. It's just the energy that I was throwing out towards someone else instead of just seeing it and seeing all the positives. So that's a very simple perspective change that had an immediate effect on my body.
Yeah, and Louise Hay talks about it all the time, that when we don't express our emotions, they manifest in our body. And, you know, our life is a mirror of what we need to heal. If we can connect to that spirit side of self and we can listen to what that is, we'll find that, you know, everything that's happening externally has a connection to the internal world there somewhere. Yeah, that's fantastic.
You've got a phrase, Julie, haven't you, about be your own guru?
Yes. Yep.
How did you not just come up with that, but what made you realize that you are your own guru?
I've been really lucky because I've been on this journey for a long time, and, you know, I realized quite early on that no one was going to make me happy, and I needed to make me happy. And so, you know, and that's a journey we all go through. We all go through, you know, that pain body, and which is your 3D, your 4Ds, all about kind of healing it, and then 5Ds all about sort of connecting to that practical magic. So I learned really early on that there was only one person that could make me happy, and that was me. So, and when I was teaching people, when I started off nearly 30 years ago doing psychic medium readings, so, you know, I did them for many, many years, and they lost their magic for me a couple of years ago. Actually, what are we, 2020, beginning of 2020. And I stopped doing them because I felt like I was actually robbing people of connecting to that spirit themselves.
Mm.
And so, you know, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with people who do readings. I think they're still very much, they help in the bigger picture. But for me, I had all this information of how to teach people to do that for themselves. And I felt like it lost its magic, and I was trying to force it. And at that time, and I think we spoke about this, that at the time when I got that message that I needed to listen to my spirit and give up the psychic medium readings, which were at the time a huge part of my income and business. And, you know, it took a little while, I'm not going to lie. I didn't instantly listen, because it was like, well, the logical mind can't see, well, where's that income going to come from? You know, this is all that I do. I don't have another job. So where's that income going to come from if I give up all of the, you know, all the psychic medium readings that I've been doing around Australia for many years? And in the end, the pain got more painful to do them because I was going against my spirit. So it became like, it felt like every time I was doing them, I was dragging myself down into a hole. And that was because I wasn't listening. And in the end, I just went, okay, whatever, I'm listening. So I made a video, I put it out to all my clients, and I said, I'm sorry, but, you know, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm only going to be doing the spiritual profiling and teaching and helping people. And you know what? All the fear was in my head, because my income actually went up. It didn't go backwards. So, you know, when your spirit is telling you something, as scary as it is, and I really did have to take that leap of faith. And that's that is the challenge. It's getting past that, what your logical mind can see, because the logical mind can't see the future. It can only perceive things through what it knows. And the spirit mind, it knows. And when you can't have that certainty and know that you're going to be absolutely okay, it can be challenging to listen to your spirit. And that was a really big test for me, a really big test in faith. And, you know, I did, and here I am, still going strong.
Yeah, I think I found it easier to listen to the guidance that came from my spirit before I had children. When I had children, it became very much that I needed to support them and be responsible for them. But when spirit came to me, when my soul came to me and woke me up at 5 o'clock in the morning, I was running a business. I was an entrepreneur. I was turning over $1 million a year, selling cameras and videos and things, all that kind of stuff in the UK. And I just split from a partner who we were in business together, and I was really kind of, this is my baby, this is my baby, this is my work, this is who I am, you know, I'm famous in my own living room. To then be woken up at 5 o'clock in the morning with a booming voice in my room, do you want to be doing this in 5 years' time? I'm like, no. I'm like, what have I just said? I'm holding on to love and money. I cannot let this go. This is who I am. It's what I do. And I earn a good money at it. I don't need to even look at how much something is. I'll just buy it. And then the voice came again. Do you want to do this in 3 years' time? I was like, no. I'm like, what have I said? What am I going to do then? You know, like, where am I going? Do you want to do this in 1 year's time? I was like, whoa. Actually, no. There's so much more to life, you know. I grew up in South Africa. I could run a business and have a life wherever. Okay, so where do you want to live then? You know, all these things were starting to come up. And that's got me into life coaching and got me into actually following a course of spirituality and being, you know, practicing it for myself, and now I teach it how to do it for yourself. Like it's not just that I'm going to tell you what's going on in your body. I want you to feel it.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
listening to spirit I call it soul intervention, because your soul just comes in at some point and splits you up from that relationship that's, you're becoming complacent, or splits
Yes.
you up from the company that, you're making an easy living, but you're not living.
That's
You're not
right.
like,
You're
I feel so
existing.
alive.
Yeah. You're
Or that
existing.
relationship, or that relationship that's just plodding along. It's just, no, there's just so much more.
Absolutely. And I love it how spirit wakes us up in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Don't you love that? I mean, that's when I get all my best work always happens in the middle of the night.
I know. All those nights when you just can't get any sleep and your brain just going over it and like, okay, fine, I'm listening. What is it? And it's like boom, 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 all these downloads. I'm like,
yeah. And it can be really overwhelming as well, because, you'll often have other people there that will be telling you, oh no, that's not going to work. They're basing it through their own beliefs and their own perceptions and stuff. And you'll often have, that crowd behind that someone doesn't agree with what you're doing or can't see your vision. And so you're always going to have your naysayers. And I've had my fair share of them. And, it's rising above that. It's really learning and trusting that, if your spirit is guiding you, and I feel it guides us in two ways. So, when I was giving up the psychic medium appointments, it was like I was seeing it more from, yes, I got the message that I needed to give them up, but I could feel that my spirit wasn't in alignment with them anymore because of the pain they were creating. So, it was a struggle to go and do them. Like, I loved my clients, and, I always showed up and gave 100% regardless. But afterwards, I felt, for the first time in like nearly 30 years, I felt drained from them, and I never ever did before. Whereas, I would go and I would do, I think I did 9 days once at 8 a day, So 9 days straight of 8 a day. Never felt drained. Because I loved it. It energizes you. But when I got to that stage,
it's a really good point, isn't it? It's like, at what point is spirit coming through and moving you to the next phase of your life? So for you felt it very much like, I'm just exhausted. This is not working out for me anymore. And for me to do with my business, not just being woken up at 5 o'clock in the morning, but if I look back, like 6 months before, I'd started getting a couple of firms who I regularly work with not paying me, or struggling to get payment from them. They were going into liquidation, or something else was going on. I'm just like, oh, this has never happened to me, ever. I've never had to invest in my business. I've never had to buy boxes. I've never had to get a loan from the bank. It's always just flowed, and all of a sudden it becomes gritty. It becomes like you're pulling something along. And as soon as I get that feeling now, like there's a feeling inside my body that I often describe to my clients, like you're in a car with like a hairdryer engine going up this steepest hill. It's just got no torque to it whatsoever. It's got no power, and you feel like you're pushing it, and the whole pushing is coming. That feeling when you're pushing from your belly.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm gonna get up there. As soon as you start feeling that, or if I feel that in a client, I'm like, what are you pushing out? What? It's not natural. It's not effortless. It's not easy. So that was a very good point to tell that story about how do you know when your spirit is intervening?
Yeah. Because you feel it, don't you? You just, it doesn't align with you anymore. It's like it's an effort to have to do what you're doing. There's no joy. It robs you in your energy. And then on the other scale, when you are inspired, which, as Wayne Dyer always says, in spirit, when you are in spirit and you are inspired, that energy just is limitless, and it just comes, and the joy that then comes with it, it becomes your passion and all of that. So generally our emotions are a really good signpost of where we're sitting in our whether we're listening or whether we're not.
Yeah. Sometimes it's difficult to get in there, isn't it? Because your logical mind is just so strong. Your education,
that logical mind.
Education is there. And like you said, you've got people around you who kind of, when I gave up doing Vision Source, which was my company for selling miniature cameras and monitors, I mean, I've been doing that for quite a few years. My mother and everybody around me kind of said, yeah, but what are you going to do? No, you can't give that up. And because it gave me an identity that other people weren't, familiar with seeing me, dropping it all and just said, no, I'm going to retire. I'm going to travel around the world for a year with a rucksack. Huh? I'm going to go live in Australia and South Africa, and I'm going to travel for a year. And, that's what I was being pushed to do. It's like, well, what do you want to do instead? Which is one of the main questions that I'm always asking myself. What do I want? This is the time when you become really selfish. What would fulfill you?
I call it centered in self. It's not selfish, it's centered in self.
But it's seen often as selfish. And yes. I often kind of say, are you putting yourself first and second and third before you're dealing with anyone else? Like, this is when you're listening to spirits. Like, oh, why am I sitting here when I could be outside? I would much rather be outside. Your feelings are very, very, very important. But we were talking, like, when do you know when your spirit is intervening in something that has become mundane or monotonous, and it's how you feel in that. But of course, your educated brain, the people around you, are so used to you being a certain way and will just reaffirm that for you all the time. But this is not you.
That's right.
So it's just something to be aware of. And as soon as you can come back to you and kind of go, well, what do I want? And it's spending time with you. And that's why I think I'm in France. That's why I think after I've been traveling for a year, I was like, I don't want to go back to England. All those people who know me in that particular identity will want me to carry on and go back to that. Whereas I think I want to do something completely different. I don't know what yet, but I want to live somewhere else. And I want to live, okay, what do I want? Mountains and sea and outdoor foliage and outdoor life and being able to swim in the sea and walk in the mountains. Oh, right, okay. What do you want?
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel that's more important. It's like I spent, before I bought this house and before I manifested this house, I travelled in an RV for 12 months around Australia and released a book and did workshops. And, then I came, and it was because I was on that journey that I actually found this beautiful home right on the beach, which is what I ended up manifesting and hold my shift sanctuary retreats in. But kind of after 2.5 years, and of course COVID got in the way a little bit there with being able to manifest workshops and things like that. And I look back and I go, I'm living in what some people would say it would be the dream house, and it was mine. And then I look back and I look at the RV life, which is traveling around, being out in nature, being free, listening to your spirit. I go, oh my God, I actually miss that. I miss that. So yeah, it's like I feel like
it's not all the trappings, is it? It's not all the trappings, the luxury and the big house and the big, what society says is fantastic and great for a retreat and all the rest of it. But I mean, it can still be beautiful. But I mean, like you say, what did you enjoy about that bit, or what did you enjoy about that bit? And you can put all that together in a new creative dream.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's when you create your partner or a romantic partner, it's like, what is it that you really want? It doesn't matter what job he does, how much money he's got, how he looks. It's like, what do you want to feel?
And then I feel we need to create that within ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah. In order to be able to manifest it in our external world.
Yeah. I think one of the hardest things is understanding that you can actually create something out of your imagination. I think that is something that is the shift between 3D and 5D. 3D would be you accept what you're given, you accept what you're told. That's your lot. That's what's available. Those jobs are available. Those types of people are in your vicinity. But my partner laughs and said, I did exist before you said you created me. You shouldn't really say, or you didn't exist in my parallel universe. But, you know, using that as an example, God, I love that about that person. Yeah, wow, that would feel awesome. I love that about that person. It's like you create a shopping list, and you know, then you redefine it and refine it and refine it, and all of a sudden it's just like, oh, I feel that way when I'm speaking to this guy on an email or something.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'll tune into him. I'll see what the energy's like when I'm standing next to this person. Like, yeah, this could be good. So you go on the date and you just kind of go, I created you. You've got everything. You tick every single box. You know, you must have done the same for your house, and I've done the same for my house too.
Yeah. I was in your mind, you imagine it, you imagine what it is that you would love. I mean, I just saw a big house on the beach that I could hold retreats in. But I mainly focused on the view. So that was always my dream, was to just have a house on the beach. And yeah, it didn't even take that long to manifest, really. Like it really honestly didn't, from the time that I really thought that that's what I wanted. And the thing about the universe too is, if whatever current pathway you're on, and I found this, whatever pathway you're on at the time, if it's not in alignment with what it is that you want, then the universe may end that pathway for you.
Yes. So
yeah, divine intervention. And so, you know, sometimes if you don't have an understanding of that, you can actually feel like your world's falling apart, not getting better.
Yeah.
And, you know, I feel that if we sometimes realize, and I feel that's what's happening in the world at the moment, sometimes we have to break down to break through. And so if we do want something, whether that's a relationship or, you know, and we're not on that pathway towards that, the universe is definitely going to show us. And sometimes that can be by pulling the rug out from under your feet.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I've had that a couple of times, but then I've always looked back and gone, well, if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If I look back on some of the, you know, like the major relationship and the, you know, before I went traveling around Australia and South Africa and everything, if I look back on that, I was just, I was trying to fix it. I was trying so hard to put it back together and make it work and everything. And, you know, it just got pulled away from me, you know, and then I got woken up in the morning with this, you know, booming voice. And then now I'm where I am now. And I was able to look back and I was like, I would have been so bored. I would have just like going through the work, going through the, you know, what do you call it? The, you know, the steps every single day, but it would have been
going through the motions.
There's so much more available for me. And I'm like, yeah, I would have been so bored.
Yeah. And sometimes we don't realize that until we actually step out as well. Like sometimes I feel like, you know, when you're on these pathways and you're trying to make everything work because, you know, sometimes it's not that bad. You know, it can just be that you don't actually realize that you're bored and that you're kind of being kept. You're not experiencing yourself to your full capacity. And so sometimes you don't realize until you step out, and that it can be that situation wasn't really that bad at that time for you to go, I'm done with this, you know. And then when you step out and you go, oh my God, like now I realize I can, where I am now to where I was, and you really see the bigger picture that you were bored, that you were uninspired.
We said this the other day, you know, even we're even changing. Kind of like, yeah, it's kind of not working the way I want it to work. Like, what could be better than that?
Yeah.
You know, I've had cars and my scooter break down 2 years ago on the same road. And when I felt into it and when I kind of like was talking about it, hearing the words I was saying, like, you keep taking the same path, Fiona, and you're not getting anywhere. Okay.
Yeah, it's fun.
But you know, my car is my spirit as well. And you know, she breaks down. Sometimes the steering's off, or sometimes the suspension's gone, or, you know, all these things, or the drain in your house, or the leak in your house, or your boiler, all these things are just showing you what's going on.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
if you have a car accident, or for us, we had a big wall fall down between us and the neighbours, and the builder ran off with the money, and you kind of think, whoa, what's all that about? And sometimes you need to decipher a little bit to find out, you know, what you're creating here, or what you're co-creating, or what could be better than this. And we get a bit stuck, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. And it really is that, you know, once you really start to understand, and you do have to have that awareness of it, and it's like no one can tell you it's when the penny drops, that, you know, you really have that understanding that everything, the universe is using everything to talk to you. And when that stuff is going wrong, it's the universe. The only way the universe can show you what's going on is to reflect it outside of you. And, you know, we're attracting it with our energy, and we're attracted to it. So, you know, when you get to that awareness that nothing is random, that everything's linked, it's like that's an awakening in itself. But it's a very hard, when you're in sort of your 3D coming into 4D energy, can be very hard to actually own the stuff, because the ego wants to still make it about everyone else, and, you know, this is not my lot in life. Yeah, exactly. But when you start to take ownership and you realize it, it's actually freeing to take 100% responsibility for your happiness and to what you're manifesting and co-creating. It's very, very liberating and freeing, because if you can do that, that means that you also then get to the understanding that, well, hang on a minute, if I'm attracting all this and I'm co-creating all this, then if I can change my perception and change my energy, I can create amazing things too.
I know, but we also get stuck in not allowing ourselves to imagine just what could be possible.
Yes.
So, you know, I know we're going to have a lot more conversations about this, because I really feel that stepping into the creative side of things, being the creator, and, you know, but also realizing when you're in that stuckness and that you're safe, you're held. There's so many more people here just kind of saying, welcome, welcome. You know, there's just so much more available for you.
Absolutely.
I was just asked to share something a minute ago, and it's kind of disappeared, but it'll come back. Oh, I know what it was. So we're having conversations with spirit. We're being in spirit as we do it. So that's why things will sort of pop into my head, or things will pop into Julie's head about what we should be talking about here. And one of the things I was just shown was, so you're talking about everything is a message for you. Everything that's happening around you in your environment is to do with you personally. It's what you're creating. It's how much love you're radiating, and all the rest of it. And it's funny, the story just disappeared again.
And do you know what I tell my clients why that happens? Is because our mind, we've got one mind, but we've got that intuitive part, and when we've got the logical part. And the logical part we can remember, but the spirit and the inspiration that pops in is not rememberable.
No.
So if you don't write it down, it's like remembering a dream. If you don't write it down straight away, because it's come through the subconscious, it's very hard to remember it, because it's not logical. It's got no neural pathways that have been created from it. So
I got the answer. That's fine.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Yeah.
So yeah, just pause, interval, watch an advert, make a cup of tea. There it is. It's back again. So the spirit will intervene with things breaking down, or things being taken away from you, or the rug being pulled out from you. But some of the coolest way that the spirit intervenes as well is the morning you'll wake up with a song in your head. And you'll think, oh, okay, I'm singing this song over and over and over and over, and it just won't leave your mind. It's like, don't even know what I'm singing. Maybe I'll have to ask somebody, what am I singing? Do you recognize the song? Then you go and look it up, and you look at the lyrics, and you listen to the lyrics, and you kind of go, ooh,
yeah,
that is spot on. Yeah, I really needed to hear that.
Happens all the time, definitely.
I know. So this is a great way that spirit intervenes and is sending you messages. We also talk about when you notice something in nature, you kind of go, oh, that's odd. Why is that there again? Or why did that bird just do that? You know, you can look up the symbolism for those. This is a great way to sort of step into just becoming aware of what's going on in your vicinity, in your environment, not just your car breaking down.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because yeah. And if you're not in your mind and thinking and, you know, so busy in your head about, you know, getting home, cooking dinner, work, all of that stuff, you don't miss that. Whereas if you're busy in your intellectual mind and it's think, worry, then unfortunately all that magic that happens around us, you tend to not even be aware that it's there.
Exactly.
So,
one of the things that I was asked to share as well is you can ask at any time. So like if you've got a big project to do, like painting a room or something, it's like, oh my God, it's not my favorite thing to do. You can say like, you know, can you help me? Can you make this interesting? Can you make the time fly? Can you just have a great conversation? I mean, I have great conversations with myself when I'm driving on a long drive or painting a room or doing something. It's like revelations come through and I'm like, whoa.
Absolutely, totally agree with that. Yeah, some of the best work that I've done, because Australia, you traveled around Australia, so you know how spread out it is. So, you know, a lot of my traveling was done interstate. So I've spent a lot of time on the roads over the last 15 years. And finding that inspiration always when you're driving and there's no one there to talk to, it's just you in the car, there's nothing else you can do, you know, and so much, I would find so much in that space would just come through. I'd get new ideas for projects, new ideas for writing articles and things like that. So absolutely agree.
Yeah. Anyway, driving is one of the best places I speak to or sing or have a conversation with my soul. I ask questions and I just go, I just get the answer coming through. It's absolutely phenomenal. So driving is one of the best ways. And sometimes when I'm driving, I'll get a 777, a number plate. And I think, I must live in the corner of the world with all the numbers in it. The most weird number plates, like 333 or 777 or 999. And they have a different meaning to me. I've kind of like got my own vocabulary with these numbers. So if I see a 777, I think, oh, jackpot, what was I just thinking? What was it that was just so spot on? That's what spirit in my soul is showing me, that's exactly right. Yeah. And I'm sitting in the car with my girlfriend and she's just seeing 222s and I'm just seeing 777s. And I'm like, but we're in the same car.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, like when your spirit will be attracted to whatever you need. So whatever you need and whatever's in alignment with you will jump out at you, but it won't jump out at someone who it's not in alignment with.
Where you can see it or hear it.
Yeah, that's right. So yes, because we're attracting it, but we're also going to be attracted to it. So we're not going to miss it. Yeah, absolutely. Love that. And I'm a real number plate girl too. So I know exactly, yeah, absolutely. Know exactly what you're talking about when you're talking about the numbers and the 333 and the 777 and
but I have my own language for them.
I do too. I do. I've looked up, you can look up the Doreen Virtue, her version of what she feels the angel numbers, the triple numbers and everything mean. But I myself too, exactly like you, I've kind of adapted it to what I feel for myself.
Yeah, don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. If I've got one message for anyone, don't overthink it. I mean, sometimes when I'm on with a client and you can just, they go back up to their head. I'm like, you're thinking about it. Go back down, feel it. Go back up again, right? Go back down and feel what you're feeling.
Yeah, because the minute you go to your head, you've disconnected.
Yeah.
Because it's the logical. And that's connected to the logical side is connected to the physical side, which is connected to the ego side. So the minute that we go to that side of the brain, the logical side of the brain, we disconnect from our intuition.
I've just written down a subject that I think we need to go into further information about on another call. I used to feel that I was undereducated or that I wasn't smart or I wasn't clever. And I know we touched on this once before. But sometimes it's just a great advantage.
Yes.
It's not you're undereducated in society's view, even though I've got the certificates and all the rest of it, I've never been asked to prove them. But maybe your grammar or this isn't right, or your education isn't, you know, spot on, or you're not seen as, you know, super intelligent, but you've got a different kind of intelligence.
Yes. Yeah.
Your higher self and your soul is so intelligent. And if you think that people only use 10% of their mind, I've just been on this quest to sort of just start using the rest of all of that. Just
Absolutely.
have access to that. And that is intelligence all of itself. And I try and teach my kids that, and my stepchildren that too. Like, they say, where's this for you? And I'm like, well, I'm just going to send you an image of that. I'm not going to tell you where it is, but I'll send you an image.
Yeah.
I'll show you where it is.
And it's so cool. I mean, if you, I mean, I've written 3 books, but if you ask my editor, my grammar and everything is absolutely non-existent. And even when I'm teaching workshops and I put stuff on I always warn them, I can't spell,
Yeah.
and my grammar is not good, but I've got other gifts. So yeah, and I feel like, you know, and you know, we have our spelling Nazis that come along and pick us all up and all of that. I just go, oh well, you know, I haven't that's not my gift. This is my gift, and we can't all be perfect. Yeah, we just got to go with what we've got.
I've just got the image given to me again. There's a great phrase to do with that. Like, you might be brilliant at that, but you can't do what I do. So yeah. I was diving in Turkey, and I'm just thinking, God, he knows so much information. And then my partner at the time sort of said that he can't do what we do. I was like, you're so right.
Yeah.
And everybody's got their own, you know, niche and speciality and passion, of course. Otherwise, you know, the world wouldn't be going round as it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm going to really look forward to having lots of conversations and connecting with you. Lovely. And like I said, I feel like it's such a blessing to be able to, you be over there, me be here, be joined at the heart, and have these soul conversations, which I'm sure will help a lot of people as well. So yeah, we'll have to, as soon as we hang up the recording, I think we'll organise another one. Hey, seems like we got lots to talk about. Awesome. So where can anyone find you, Fiona, if they're interested?
Yeah. I have a website that is always in evolvement. It is about creating your own reality, and it's under fionarobertson.co. And so there's my website. I have a Facebook group called Practical Magic, and I have a YouTube TV show which is basically talking about all the things that we've manifested, and I'm on conversations, soul-to-soul conversations with beautiful souls like yourself. So that is just called Practical Magic on YouTube as well. And when I put this recording out, I'll also just put the links on my YouTube and Facebook and as well.
Fantastic.
And what about yourself, Julie? Where are you?
Yep, so you can find me at www.juliekinternational.com. That's my website. On Facebook, I've got a group called Be Your Own Guru with Julie K. And I've got YouTube too, which I started as the Be Your Own Guru TV YouTube. So there's a few trainings, free trainings on there as well. So, yep, looks like we're fairly well aligned. And
yeah, so be your own guru and practical magic. There you go.
Practical magic. Yeah, if you be your own guru, you get practical magic. Awesome. Fantastic. Well, it was lovely to talk to you, my dear. And yeah, we'll definitely get this out on our socials, and people can let us know in your comments whether you enjoyed it. And
and share it.
Yeah, absolutely. Share
Friends
it.
And family may also just want to hear something that's just been said here and kind of go, oh my God, I've had that. I've experienced that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Lovely to talk to you. Thank you, dear.
All right. Have a lovely day. Have a lovely weekend.
You too. Yep.